So, no, I wouldn't say I have a passion for HR.
Welcome back to Human Resources for the People. It's a human capital revolution.
Today we got two questions out of Texas. One that has the employer cutting pay by 20%. Another one asking if housing is a reasonable accommodation. And then finally one out of Wisconsin about a layoff upon hire. This is part of a weekly series that I do that talks or that addresses human resources questions on Reddit, and we talk through the different angles that someone could take and what the best advice is. Now, we'll start off with the one in Texas, and it says, I work in Texas. I'm a salaried employee in a management role. There's 10 employees and 2 owners, and they started the company in January. The employer is cutting the pay 20% in 2 weeks, and they notified them in writing, and it's due to a cut in business. They think that they're the only one, but they don't know that. And they're asking if there's any recourse. So there's a couple things to note. Of course, they have to pay you minimum wage, and then they also have to, appropriately designate you and make sure that you're actually exempt, right? If you have 2 owners, 10 employees, and at least one of you is a manager. Hopefully that is an accurate description of your job, because if it's not, that could be some recourse. In addition, they gave you notice ahead of time, and they notified you in writing, although I don't think that's required. I think that's just good practice. But I think that I would start looking, absolutely, especially in a small company like this. My guess is that this company is likely to go under soon, so I would start looking for a job. It's really not about recourse. There's a chance that there may be nothing left in this company, and so that would be my advice. But as to whether or not there's a recourse, there is not. You are absolutely you do have to follow this guidance, and you don't have much of a choice, unfortunately, with the current labor laws in the United States. The next one out of Texas is asking if housing is a reasonable accommodation. The company provides housing to employees for 1 year because we live in the middle of nowhere. They presume after a year you will have found somewhere else to live, and their options include an RV or living 2 hours away. With their back troubles, they don't want to spend 4 hours a day in the car, and RV living isn't ideal. And the question is, I realize a reasonable accommodation usually covers workplace items, but is it possible they would approve an extension on my lease? Well, it's kind of two different things. So no, housing isn't a reasonable accommodation in any meaningful way. Reasonable accommodations are created in the workplace to help you do your work successfully, and you don't want to do things. For example, RV living isn't ideal. Well, that's not really an argument, right? But that said, it is possible that they would approve an extension on your lease. They don't want to lose you, right? And they don't want you to go on elsewhere, potentially. So as a result, they might approve the extension on your lease or make you pay a certain amount. And I think that that's really the key. I mean, this isn't a reasonable accommodation. This is an employer, ideally, that's doing good things, and that's basically all there is to it. Hopefully this works out for the veteran, because I think that it's very important to try to figure out how we can best work with these disabilities. But housing it in and of itself is not a reasonable accommodation. The next one is out of Wisconsin. It says layoffs upon hire. In Wisconsin, they started a new job a week ago, and 3 days in, they announced massive layoffs. Why didn't they do a hiring freeze? Are there any legal protections from you? So The answer is, as to why they didn't do a hiring freeze. The oftentimes layoffs are pretty secretive. Managers aren't aware of what's going on behind the scenes, and so they continue to hire, and the communication is not put down because they have to be very cognizant of what will happen. In addition, a lot of times the company doesn't want to scare anyone by doing hiring freezes on key roles and things of that nature. No, there are no real legal protections for you. Of course, the legal protection is the WARN Act if your company applies, or if it's applicable to your company. But other than the WARN Act, there are no real layoffs upon hire, or there are real no legal protections for layoffs upon hire. I would reach out to your previous job, let them know that they're laying off and attempt to come back. I think that could, you're only, you're probably only a week away from coming. They probably would rather not have to post the job, especially if you had a reason to come back. And I think that it could work out for you in this way. There's no guarantees, of course, here, but I think that that's probably your best bet to get into a better spot after a layoff. Good luck, and hopefully it works out for you. That's it for Ask HR answers today, and let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye, guys.